7:33 on this gorgeous Friday morning. Welcome back. Jeff, Dave, Monica with you until 9 o'clock. All right, we're going to switch gears for a moment, and we will get back on topic in just a little bit. 928-773-1346 is the number to call, or you can email us, jkshow@kaff.com. But it is my pleasure to invite another one of our Young Voices contributors into the show, Daniel Martino. He is the founder of the Dissident Project, and if you're not familiar with it, it's a nonprofit speakers bureau connecting immigrants who fled tyrannical regimes with American high schoolers. And this coming Monday, on February 10th, he will be speaking to a group in Avondale, a high school group in Avondale. Daniel, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Very good. And you, Jeff?
I'm doing very well, Hey, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Now, I know you're going to be speaking to a high school in Avondale on Monday. Give us a little bit of your background. You grew up in Venezuela, witnessed firsthand the effects of socialism. So can you share what life was like before and after the country's economic collapse?
Yes. So I was born the same year that Hugo Chavez took power in Venezuela. And as I grew older, I started seeing things change in my life, things from not finding the things that you like in the grocery store to having to line up for 30 minutes, then for an hour, then not being able to go to the grocery store the day that you even want to go. The government chose the day that you could go. To just basic things like, I couldn't fit enough cash in my pocket to buy an empanada, right, in school. Because of inflation, like the cash was worthless. Like a full pack of cash would be like a movie ticket, and I have pictures of that I show the kids to show them what really hyperinflation looks like, and just the crime, kidnappings, mass homicide, robbery. The country was totally plunged in darkness by blackouts. My home we would suffer blackouts very often, every few days. Sometimes we would go many days without water in our apartment and have to carry it up the stairs. We really went from living in a life of an average middle class family to living a life in the third world in the 19th century.
Yeah, and obviously, difficult times. You made the decision to come here, and now you are an advocate against socialism in the United States. Explain your position on that. I mean, I think most of us who know anything about socialism and some of the countries that have experienced that know. I would hope that people here aren't promoting socialism, but I do think that sometimes we have a misunderstanding of exactly what that is and the threat to our freedoms here in the United States. Can you explain?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, what socialism really is, you can just read Marx on this, is government ownership of the means of production. And that's what Venezuela did, meaning the government would take over your company. The government would tell you how much you can charge. The government would tell you who you can hire, who you can't fire. And so it became impossible to run private businesses, and most of the economy was controlled by the government in government enterprises. And so, we saw massive deficit spending, meaning like the government would spend so much more money than they would take in revenue, and so they would just print the difference and create this massive inflation. And that's what socialism really is. And what concerns me is that we have in the United States this growing movement of people who want the government to take over companies, who want the government to redistribute everything, right? A different way to have government ownership of the means of production is 100% taxation, right? If you don't own any of your profits, then you don't really own the business. And then the other big concern is the deficit, right? Right now we're okay, but it's an increasingly bad situation where we keep spending more money than we have, we create all this new money. We have this inflation over the last 4 years because of the overspending. And if we keep going in that direction, then we gradually get to the place where Venezuela is. And I don't want to gradually get there.
Absolutely. Daniel Martino, he is the founder of the Dissident Project. All right, the Dissident Project now connects immigrants who have fled oppressive regimes with high school students. So what inspired you to create this initiative, and what impact have you seen so far?
So what inspired me was that I went to a high school in Massachusetts 2.5 years ago or so. And the teacher paid for everything. Nobody sponsored it. I didn't charge anything. She just paid for my train ticket and my Ubers to get there. I didn't even stay in a hotel. And I thought it was so impactful, but what I was thinking that, I can't do this on my own. I can't do this for free. We need somebody to pay for this because obviously teachers shouldn't be bearing this cost on themselves. Otherwise, very few would do it. And we need more people than me. We need people from other countries too, not just Venezuelans. And so I started this Speakers Bureau, and it is now 16 speakers from over 10 countries, including North Korea, China, Russia, Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, and we send them to speak at high schools at no cost. Now, we've spoken at over 200 high schools all over the United States, in over 25 states, and the District of Columbia. And it's incredible, seeing how the kids really learn from, because these are not stories of the past, right? Like when we usually think of these regimes, we think, the Soviet Union or things that happened 100 years ago, Nazi Germany. No, these are countries in the present. North Korea is enslaving people today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, with all the campuses that you've spoken on and public events, have you faced any resistance so far?
Well, we only go to a school if they invite us, right? So those are obviously not there's no resistance there, but we do find people who disagree with us in those schools, and that's great. The point is to educate kids and teachers who might not have heard about this, and so we only had really good outcomes.
Very good. Daniel D. Martinez, he is a political dissident who fled Venezuela in 2016. He's scheduled to speak to students and community members at a high school in Avondale on Monday. Now, you're currently pursuing your PhD in economics, right?
That's right, at Columbia University, New York City.
So how does your academic research inform your perspective on socialism and economic policy? And we've only got a couple minutes. I know that was a loaded question, but how does your research inform you or inform your perspective?
I began studying economics because of the experience I had on the socialism in Venezuela, because I was a kid and I was seeing there were shortages around me, inflation, and that's what got me interested in economics in the first place. And now I study migration mostly, and how migration affects the country of destination, the country of origin, the migrant. And I'm fascinated by that because also my whole family story was that of immigrants in Venezuela. My grandparents immigrated from Europe when Venezuela was the richest country in Latin America and much richer than their countries of Spain and Italy. And then we all had to leave the country 3 generations later. And that, is a heartbreaking story, but it's the story of so many people, of millions of people all over the world. And it really made me think that I don't want that to happen to anybody else, right? We lived a good life in Venezuela. I would have never left. They would have never left if socialism had never taken hold.
All right, very good. Daniel D. Martino, the founder of the Dissident Project. Listen, we will touch bases with you again down the line. Enjoy your stay here. I'm sure the students will be well received down at Avondale, and check in with us next week after that event. I'd love to hear how it went.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Take care. Founder of the Dissident Project. You can check it out. A number of speakers from all over the world that visit these high schools, and I don't know, just pretty cool stuff.
It is really cool. It's nice to have different perspectives to teach individuals about things that are current in our nation.
Absolutely, and another one of our Young Voices contributors. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to visit with Billy Francis. He is the executive director of Coconino County Workforce Development Board. And he is coming up next. This is KAFF News Radio 93.5 and AM 930 News Sports
Community.